Hare Krishna devotees, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayesha Bhaddeshu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we are continuing to read from Srimad Bhagavatam. 9th canto today, 11th chapter, verse number 6. Aprattam tvayā kimnu bhagavan bhuvaneśvara ntar-hṛdayaṁ viśya tamo haṁsi sva-rociṣā aprattam not given naha unto us tvayā by your Lordship kim what nu indeed bhagavan O Supreme Lord bhuvana-īśvara O Master of the whole universe yat because naha our antaḥ-hṛdayam within the core of the heart viśya entering tamaḥ the darkness of ignorance haṁsi you annihilate sva-rociṣā by your own effulgence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O Lord, you are the Master of the entire universe. What have you not given to us? You have entered the core of our hearts and dissipated the darkness of our ignorance by your effulgence. This is the supreme gift. We do not need a material donation. Purport. When Dhruva Mahārāja was offered the benediction by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he replied, O my Lord, I am fully satisfied. I do not need any material benediction. Similarly, when Prahlāda Mahārāja was offered the benediction by Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, he also refused to accept it and instead declared that a devotee should not be like a vaṇik, a mercantile man who gives something in exchange for some profit. One who becomes a devotee for some material profit is not a pure devotee. Brahmanas are always enlightened by the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the heart. sarvasya chaham kriti sanivishto matar smritir jnanam apohanam cha. And because the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are always directed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are not greedy for material wealth. What is absolute necessary they possess, but they do not want an expanded kingdom. An example of this was given by Vamanadeva. Acting as a brahmachari, Lord Vamanadeva wanted only 3 paces of land. Aspiring to possess more and more for personal sense gratification is simply ignorance. And this ignorance is conspicuous by its absence from a heart of a Brahmana Vaishnava. So this is a very interesting verse. Actually, there's so many. Srimad Bhagavatam is an ocean of nectar, the reality. So many things. Every verse is like an amazing thing. You know, if we dive into Srimad Bhagavatam, we discover so many things. Even the verse, within the verse, there's so many interesting things. And then then you have your certain realization about this verse. And 10 years later, you read the same verse, and you have a completely new realization, completely different realization from this very same verse. So let's see, what are we going to speak today is, first of all, that Krishna is, or Vishnu's name is bhuvana-īśvara. Bhuvana, Tribhuvana, three material universe is actually controlled by somebody. This is Krishna. And therefore, here, the first part is, you are the master of the universe. What have you not given to us? So Krishna is given everything. Krishna is ashraya. Krishna gives shelter. Krishna, first of all, Krishna is, we are actually, created, you can say, although we are eternal, we are part of the Tatastha Shakti of Krishna. So it's, without Krishna, we will not be able to exist. So we exist because we are Krishna's Tatastha Shakti, Jivera Sarupahaya, Krishnera Nityadas, Krishnera Tatastha Shakti, Veda Abeda Prakash. That we actually parts of Krishna, as Prabhupada said, part and parcels. We actually, without Krishna, will not be able to exist. And then there's this pure spirit soul, a rebellious spirit soul, who desire to enter the material world. Krishna, or Balaram in the sense, manifest the whole material world to facilitate our playing God. We want to play God, and Krishna says, okay, but you cannot just, float in the air. So I have to create. So this is one of the 10 main topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. One of them is that Krishna gives facility to everybody. Krishna gives ashraya, shelter. Because, like you are homeless and you are living on the street and it's raining, pouring rain or freezing cold, and then you see a cottage and you enter there, it's dry, there's a wood, and you can heat up yourself. So you have a shelter. So Krishna is giving us shelter in this material world. Krishna is giving us food. Without Krishna, we will not be able to survive. Krishna is giving us water, and Krishna is giving us air. As we yesterday said, reading last night on Bhagavad Gita, that air is floating in 5 kinds of air. The soul is floating in 5 kinds of air, 5 kinds of air. Soul is situated in the area of the heart and is floating in the 5 kinds of air. So even that, Krishna is facilitating. You want to be independent? Okay, but you cannot be independent, so I have to create your independence. Which is it's called oxymoron. We are dependent on Krishna to be independent. Because without the material world, we will not be able to be independent. So Krishna said, okay, you want to be independent? I will create your facility so you can be independent there. And he said, okay, I am independent. But in reality, we are not independent at all. The airs, the 5 airs, the wind, the water. Without water, we will die, I think 3 days, mostly, I think 2 days, 3 days without water, we will die. So we are all proud, very proud. The scientists are very proud. We don't need God. But without water, you will die within 3 days. So where's your pride? Without food, you can do, I think, 42 days or something. Scientists have this measured, around 42 days. Because Jesus actually, in the Bible, has fasted 40 days in the desert. And many Christian monasteries, I know from my country, monks, some serious monks, they fast 40 days, 3 times a year, 40 days fast. So that's a serious business, serious fasting. So that's 120 days fasting. And this is just big fast, and they have some smaller fasts also. They fast, I think, altogether 200 days a year, 220 days a year, something like this. Fasting. So many not eating at all. Because you can survive longer without food, but still you have to eat some food. Without food, we'll die. So Krishna creates, trees. Krishna creates earth. So from earth comes the trees. So from trees are the fruit, and we can eat the fruit, the berries, and Krishna create animals, so we can drink milk. Krishna creates the wheat, so we can harvest the wheat, and so on and so forth. So this is all created by somebody. So people who claim independence, particularly the scientists, they're the most hypocritical, because they said, no, God, but without this natural elements, you will not be able to survive. And these things you cannot create yourself. This is not possible to create. You can clone it, but not create it. You cannot create, they now want to clone, I think they'll clone the sheep or whatever, the cloning. They took the cell of the sheep and they created another sheep. But you cannot create a completely new species. You cannot, because you're not Krishna, you're not God. You can clone it, or you can make artificial food. Now they even want to make artificial food, synthetic food. Instead of meat, there's some synthetic something. It tastes like meat and something, but it's not real. But you cannot create new type of food. You cannot create anything, because everything is already created, and you cannot create a new planet Earth. Even the great sages Vishwamitra, he tried to create another planet. He has his disciple who was very dedicated, and he said, I want to go. He had an unusual desire. Sometimes disciples have very unusual desires, and he wanted to fulfill this desire. And the desire is to go to the heavenly planet in this body. And the Guru said, it's not possible. This body is not meant to be in the Svargaloka. You have to have a different body. You have to have a heavenly body. And he said, no, I want in this body. So he said, okay. So he sent him there by his mystic power. So the disciple went to the Svargaloka. And then the Svargaloka resident said, no, go back. You don't have a suitable body. So then he come back, and the Guru said, no, go back again. So he was going back and forth. The residents of Svargaloka shicked him back, sent him back. And then he said, okay, I'll create. And so he was hanging in the middle, between. He was just hanging in the middle. And he said, I will create heavenly planets for you. So he created heavenly planets for him. But these are like a replica. These are not real heavenly planets. So even the great sages, mystics, they cannot do this. What to speak of some scientist who is like uncontrolled senses, who drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes? What can they do? Nothing. They can, they have intelligence. They can find out things. They can figure out, and even Big Bang was figured out.
I had one more with Tulsi in this water. Did you put any? Somebody has taken.
So they cannot do even anything. So the point is that we have to be grateful that Krishna has created all these worlds. Krishna created the material world. Krishna created fruit. Krishna created milk. Krishna created water, so we can exist. So therefore, they said, what have you not given us? And then indeed, those who practice spiritual life, the next line said, you have entered the core of our hearts. So not only that you have given us everything, but when we are practicing spiritual life, Krishna is enlivening us. First of all, he enters the core of everybody's heart. But then said here, and dissipated the darkness of ignorance by your effulgence. So when we try to turn towards Krishna, Krishna is reciprocating by enlightening us through the heart, dissipating the darkness of ignorance by your effulgence. So Krishna is always reciprocating. I've heard so many times. I'm not sure if Prabhupada said this, but they said, devotee said, that you make one step towards Krishna, Krishna makes 10 steps towards you. But we still think, oh, Krishna doesn't see, or Krishna doesn't appreciate my hard endeavor. I'm chanting 15 minutes Hare Krishna, and Krishna is not recognizing this. What is this? Is this God ungrateful that I am chanting his name? But the reality is that we should actually chant constantly because, or dedicated ourselves to Krishna, because Krishna has facilitated everything. As we read the other day, that Krishna said, even the wealth, it's not my wealth. It's Krishna actually by Krishna's mercy, I became wealthy. It's not because of my own endeavor. And although we may think it's our own endeavor, but without Krishna's sanction, we can endeavor all we want. Not possible. How many people want to endeavor to become big businessmen, and failure after failure after failure? And some people just accidentally are in the right place and the right time, and then become very successful. I think this, what is his name? Harrison Ford. He was a famous actor when I was young. These Indiana Jones and all these things. But he was actually just a housemaster. But he was in Hollywood, and he was in the right place. He was working for the studios, fixing things, always carrying them lighter ladder, and he was fixing things and repairing things. And then somebody said, "Oh, you look very good. Would you like to be an actor?" He said, "Sure, why not?" And he became the most famous actor of all times. So somebody and some other people, they go to acting school, they go to university, they act and they try and they just failure after failure after failure. So it's not only by endeavor, but also by the sanction of the Lord. So what have you not given to us? As he said, you have entered the core of our hearts and dissipated the darkness of our ignorance by your effulgence. So purport. When Dhruva Mahārāja was offered the benediction by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he replied, "Oh my Lord, I'm fully satisfied. I do not need any material benediction." So this is the devotee's attitude. Devotee's attitude is that we don't want from Krishna any material benediction. We don't want to pray to Krishna, "Oh, please Krishna," this famous prayer from the 80s and 90s in India. "My dear Lord," what is it? "Give me house by the sea and color TV, Jaya Jagadisha Hari." Give me everything and Jaya Jagadish. We don't ask for material benedictions. We don't ask even for liberation. Devotees don't even ask for liberations. I mean, this is a very high standard what we are offering here. And imagine somebody comes to you and said, "I can liberate you from this material world." And he said, "No, thanks. I'm serving Krishna. And if Krishna wants me to liberate me, he will liberate me. Otherwise, I'm not interested. I'm just interested in service to Krishna." This is a huge thing because there's so many people would do anything to get moksha. But in the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, the verse was spoken. The verse was Vyavasyatmika buddhir ekeha kuru nandana bahu shakka hinantarcha buddhayo avyavasayanam. And Srila Prabhupada says the purport to this verse by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was the guiding verse through his whole devotional service. And in this purport, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, "I'm only interested in serving my Guru. Whether I'm in a fallen state, whether I'm in a material body, whether I'm completely liberated from material existence, my only goal is to serve my Guru. Everything else I'm not interested." So this is like a very high standard. You can get liberation. He said, "No, no thanks." So this is the attitude of a devotee, because our goal is to go back to Krishna. Our goal is not to achieve material success, to become famous, to have a dhanam, to have a wealth, to have janam, to have followers, and to have sundarim, beautiful man, a beautiful woman. We are very happy. I have a very beautiful woman. I have a very beautiful man. In the story of Ramanujacharya, he was walking on the beach with his disciples, and there was one man who worshipped his wife. I mean, worshipped her. He was cooling her with chamara and holding an umbrella over her that so the sun doesn't penetrate her beautiful face, and he was cooling her with chamara, and she was walking like this. And Ramanuja said, why are you doing this? And he said, I cannot, I'm sorry, but I am very attracted to her eyes. When I look at her eyes, I melt. She has the most beautiful eyes, and I cannot. So he was fanning her. And Ramanuja said, Ramanuja felt sorry for the man. And he said, if I show you the more beautiful eyes than hers, would you accept it? And he said, yes. So Ramanuja brought him to the temple of, what is it, South India? Is Sri Rangam. Rangaji, he brought him to the temple, and he showed him, by his mystic powers, of course, the actual beautiful lotus eyes of Lord Krishna. Kamala Netra, and the man was completely, convinced. He became a great devotee, and him and his wife became one of the best disciples of Ramanujacharya. But so this is the point, the point is na dhanam, na janam, so we don't want followers, we don't want to have 30,000 likes. Of course, it'd be nice for preaching, but it's not the point is not to have 30,000 likes so we can get money from these people. The point is to actually preach Krishna consciousness. So for that, we want followers, and we want everything dhanam for the preaching purposes, but for ourselves, we don't need. 6 Goswamis, they were living only in Kopin Akanta, just Kopin, nothing else. In wintertime, now cold, stand outside in one Kopin. We'll die. If we get pneumonia within 6 hours, or maybe one day, we'll survive if you just stand in Kopin outside. And Goswamis, they were bathing every day in Yamuna in wintertime. In Vrindavan, it can be very cold, -1 or 2. So they were just like this. And then during the rainy season, they were just standing under the rain, nowhere to go. And they did not need anything for themselves because they were always absorbed in the internal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And then when somebody came and offered something to Raghunath Das Goswami, for example, they offered him to build a Radhakund, the Ghat. And Raghunath Das Goswami said, okay, but for himself, he didn't take anything. He was still drinking one leaf cup of buttermilk. So that's it. He could have said, okay, I also need some new chadar. I could take new chadar. He said, no, well, he's just stayed in Kopan, but build a temple, build a Ghat for Krishna. Sanatana Goswami, this man offered also riches, and he said, okay, if you want to give me some money, build this temple for Krishna, this Radha Madhava Mohan. Is even now the most beautiful temple in Vrindavan. So this is the attitude of a devotee. We use everything for Krishna, but for ourselves, personally, we don't need anything. We can stay on the ground. We can, stay in one kopan. Of course, we don't do it for the preaching purposes. How will people... We imagine you enter today, Sunday feast class will be given by Jaya Sacinandana, and you come in kopan. People are like, what is this? So for the preaching purposes, we dress nicely, we dress in nice kurtas, and sannyasis should be most austere, but for the preaching purposes, they dress nice clothes. Because how would that look like? You're a big sannyasi, a big preacher, and then you're wrinkled, you're all wrinkled, and this is ripped here, and, so that's why, Vaishnavas are always, have to look good for the public. And this is our, you can say, this is our tapasya. And this is the yukta vairagya, using this everything for Krishna. We need nice temples, we need nice, whatever, Ratha Yatra cards, we need money to procession, to whatever, for the farms and all kinds of things. We require these things But this is all in Krishna's service, not for our personal aggrandizement, as Prabhupada used the word. Aggrandizement means self-glorification. So na janam na danam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mamma janmani janmanishware. Janmanishware means birth after birth. Janmani janmanishware. I want your devotional service. This is what I'm interested in. So I thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Would you have to have a question? No question today. Everything is clear. Was there? Yes?
So is it possible for us to see Krishna? You said, how many Krishna shows the eyes? But can we see it, or is it only by empowerment of a pure devotee that we can see?
The question is, can we see Krishna, or is this only by the empowerment of the pure devotee? The answer is only by the empowerment of the pure devotee. Or by the empowerment of Krishna, because ultimately Krishna can decide. And Krishna can decide if he wants to offer us darshan or not. This is all completely up to his sweet will. We cannot demand Krishna's appearance. So, but it is possible to see Krishna, yes. And Krishna is so merciful. Lord Chaitanya is very merciful. By practicing a little bit, we can actually see Krishna. This is Prabhupada said this. Within this lifetime, if you practice sincerely, we'll be able to see Krishna. And if we don't see it in this lifetime, then at the end of the life, Krishna will come. This is a promise of pure devotee and of pure devotee Prabhupada and of Krishna. Of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should just keep on practicing Krishna consciousness, and maybe if you have a desire to see Krishna, maybe Krishna says, okay, you have desire to see me for a long time. Sometimes you see in the stories, this story, I think of Jagannath, this one devotee, he had a desire for many years to have a darshan. So Krishna appeared to him. So if you have a maybe desire to see Krishna, so it's not a bad idea to have a desire to see Krishna either. It's not like, I don't deserve it. Yes, I don't deserve it, but I also want to, because otherwise I want to see the Lord I'm worshiping, or I want to see whatever. Some people, they're into Prabhupada. Some Prabhupada disciples, they're very much meditating on Prabhupada. It's their main meditation, not even Krishna as much as Prabhupada. Some people are more meditating on Lord Chaitanya. Some people are meditating on Krishna. Some people meditating on Radha. Different devotees. Some people are meditating on Vishnu. Even ISKCON devotees, they are more interested in Vishnu. And some devotees in ISKCON even they're interested in Ram. I know this one friend of mine. He said, "I know Radha and Krishna, but I'm really interested in Ram. I like Ram. He's very attached to Ramachandra." So everybody has their own rasa with Krishna, but we should, we should desire to see Krishna. Yes, this is a good point. Actually, there was this one devotee who was, what did I read this? I don't remember. One of the Puranas, this devotee was for many lifetimes, he desired to see Krishna, and Krishna appeared to him as Varahadev. He was there, he saw Varahadev, because he had a desire many lifetimes to see Krishna. So we have to desire Krishna, otherwise, I want to, have a. What is the song? I really want to see you, but we have to also do something to see Krishna. Okay, is this satisfactory? No. Yes.
I want to ask something else. So to practice Krishna consciousness requires a strong mind.
Yes.
You have already a strong mind because you're swimming against the stream of society.
Yes.
But if you have a weak mind, how can you do it? Or how can you become it? To get a strong mind? The
question is, if you have to practice Krishna consciousness, you have to have a strong mind, because you are swimming against the stream of the material world, especially devotees in the West. And how do you get stronger mind if you have a weak mind? How do you get stronger mind? Just like anything else, any other exercise, we have to flex our mind to get it stronger. First of all, by constant practice. If I'm not the best example, but if somebody wants to do the sport, They have to start very slow, start 5 minutes, start 10 minutes, and then later on become bigger and bigger and bigger. In the end, they become professional. Sorry?
But people with weak minds are not good in this kind of discipline stuff.
So they should put themselves in the environment they could be conducive to their devotional service. Prabhupada says one should mold one's mind to always be associated with Krishna. So if this situation is not good for you, find out what is the good situation for me. And do sacrifice. Who cares about your material life, ultimately? You know, like I just remember when I was in my country before I joined kind of, you know, but somehow it was not conducive. And I went to India, and India was very conducive to me, very conducive. And I avoided the whole material thing and problems. And I put myself in the environment. I lost my material life, maybe. Not really, but I lost my material life, but I gained spiritual life. So what is better? So sometimes we have to we have to be smart and work with the guru, our spiritual master, our spiritual advisor. Maybe we should just sacrifice everything. And what is the priority in my life? You have to see if my priority is the spiritual life, just do anything. I was in the 90s, I remember, was reading when I wanted to, you know, I wanted to improve my preaching and this and that. So I was reading different books, like books on salesmen, how to approach people, how to fix your mind because this is what we do actually. We are the salesmen, you know, in reality. We try to sell Krishna consciousness to other people who are not interested, you know. So this one salesman, I forgot his name. He was big in the 90s, and he said, if you want to be successful salesman, you have to not only try to be good in sales, you have to also change your life to gear everything towards being a good salesman and successful salesman. If you have friends who are, when you want to read some books to, you know, educate yourself, because for him education is a big thing, to learn, to read, to be well educated, because then you can speak well and learn the language better. And he said, if your friends, they said, you want to study, and they said, forget about it, let's go drink in a bar. He said, you should give up these friends. I was shocked. I remember this. I was like, what? This is American style, you know. Give up your friends. And but then on the other hand, what is the priority? His priority was to make money. And he's ready to give up his friends, like childhood friends, to achieve this success. So why wouldn't I be ready to give up anything to achieve Krishna? You know, why wouldn't I be anything? I should be ready to do anything for Krishna. So in that way, you put yourself in an environment that is very conducive to me. Okay, this is better for me. This is better for me. And I heard many times before, you know, this was in the 90s, not there, but later in 2000s, they say, if this place is not good for you, look for the other place. Maybe this place would be better, maybe not. But we should try to find a place where I can be Krishna conscious. And some people decide, you know, okay, like we have now lately, last 10 years, we don't have many young people join the Hare Krishna movement. We have some, but many older people. And these older people, they realize, I'm giving up this. I'm giving up this one devotee sold the house and he just moved next to the place where you can worship Krishna. This is more because he has this priority in his life. This is priority. My priority is to be next to Krishna. We have the one bhakta in one temple who has left his country and he came and served Krishna in the temple. And he said, this is what I want to do. You know, maybe materially he's a loser, but spiritually he does so much service and he's very valuable devotee. And when we die, who would care? You know, did we make 7 million euros or 7 euros? So if my priority is Krishna, if my priority is not Krishna, then it's a different story. Then if your priority is half or 1/3 Krishna, 2/3 material life, that's okay. But if your priority is 100% Krishna, which our Sampradaya preaches, then we should try to do anything to come closer to Krishna. And therefore Prabhupada has built all these temples. Prabhupada has organized Mayapur, Vrindavan, all these things, Bhaktivedanta Institute. So all these things that we can participate in this, somehow or other, to use our faculties in Krishna service. Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Anything else? Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare